Today on Waiting for the Encore, my guests are the Waters. Daniel and Jenna Waters are not only bandmates, they're also life mates. The two have been in bands together for 2 decades and a couple for nearly as long. The band plays everything from Americana to soul to rock to jazz, and they do it damn well. So please enjoy my conversation with Jenna and Daniel, the Waters. All right, the Waters in-house. Daniel, Jenna, thanks for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to see you guys. So right off the bat, how has the COVID lockdown been for you guys? What's the new norm? What's the family life like? Are you guys working? Tell me a little bit about what you guys been up to.
Honestly, not much has changed besides not being able to hang out with all our friends,
Play
and
shows,
playing shows all over the place. We are playing shows. We actually have a residency at this place called the Far Out Lounge down south. But we have been working on this new studio, which we're sitting in right now, music studio. We just finished it a week ago. So that's been a big project. Chasing the little man around. Mm-hmm. Daniel's working full time, and I'm just home with the baby.
And we've been working on the record too, so finishing that up. So that's kind of been, new record. It has been in the works since October. We recorded it in Lockhart, and then kind of, we had the good chunk of it, like the band chunk, but we had to do a bunch of overdubs and stuff, and so we ended up doing a lot of that during this time, which was nice.
Is that you guys doing a full LP or EP? How much material you guys got for that one?
11 songs.
11.
Yeah, we got a full length.
Wow, beautiful. When do you guys hoping to put that out? Are you going to hold off till things kind of get a little bit more?
Yeah, plan was October, but we just, we want to be able to shop the album around, have time to have a good release, we don't know if live music's really going to be back next year early, but we're going to shoot for that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe a single here and there before
that's
the full thing.
That's the move, I think, is just kind of trail out. If we're going to start in October, just trailing out singles, and I think January we're going to release it. It's kind of the game plan at this point.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was in the studio right before the lockdown and got a bunch of tracking stuff down. And I'm going in just now next Sunday to finish it up. So 6 months later or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
Where is that at?
At the Bubble with Frenchie. Did just a day of tracking, just 3 or 4. Well, it was 4 songs originally, and then I kind of severed one off because it was like, let's just spend the time on focus on these 3. So I'm just going back in to finish those 3 up.
Nice.
So, but you guys have been able to. So how's the Far Out residency? I have not played a show. I don't think I've played a single show other than some streaming stuff since March. So how's it going? How's the show?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and it's the perfect place to do it right now because it's wide open.
Have you been there before?
No, actually, I was supposed to go there twice, and like last minute, both times I was supposed to go, it fell through. But I know a lot of people that have played there, and I've heard good things about it.
They actually expanded it. They own 3 acres of property out there, so all the tables are just really spread out, and they have 3 food trucks that are really good. And everything's outside, so you have to order from the food trucks or the drinks outside. So they're doing it right, and they're doing it safely, and everyone has to wear a mask if you're ordering, and unless you're at your table. But it's been great turnouts. I mean, for a Sunday, like in the middle of the day, it being so hot. I mean, I think people just want some live music. So
people need it. Yeah, that's good that people are coming out. Yeah, we've definitely been playing it on the super, super conservative side and just playing it as safe as possible. And I'm cool with that. And, we were hoping the summer was going to break up a little bit, but it hasn't. It's got worse. So it's going to be a ways yet. So you guys are really unique because you guys are obviously a super cool band and a super cool couple. So I did a little digging into your guys' history, but I was interested in just kind of your story, where you guys come from. Were you guys a couple first? Did the relationship come at the same time as the music came together, or did one come before? And I know you guys are from Arizona, but why don't you take us back a little bit into your early years, your how you guys came about?
Well, we both grew up in Sedona, Arizona, and we probably knew of each other's existence in like sixth grade, I would say.
Oh, wow.
So we've
Nice.
known each other for a long time.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we didn't really, we kind of knew who each other were, but we didn't really get to know each other until high school. So we went to the same high school, and we just kind of, hung out here and there in high school with different groups of friends, and we always hung out with the older kids, and the older kids would graduate, and then we wouldn't have anyone to hang out with, and so we'd hang out with the other older kids that were the year below, and we were like, oh, you're hanging out with these guys too, all right, cool. And then our senior year, there was nobody left. It was just like we were the only people in our class that we really like hung out with, and we didn't even hang out that much in high school. But then graduation of high school is when we played together for the first time.
Yeah, we did a song. We did Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh,
that was our first song that we did together. And then after that, we were just like, hey, we kind of sound good together. So he went to school in LA. I went and traveled Europe, and we were kind of sending songs back and forth through email. And every time we would go home to Sedona for like the holidays, we would get together and do little acoustic shows or something. So that's kind of where it started. And then when he graduated college, he joined me in Denver, and we started our first band, which was called the Oak Creek Band. Oak Creek is the area of Sedona where he grew up. And we were Oak Creek Band for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Denver. And to backtrack a little bit, we moved in together as friends. And then I'd say about 3 months into it was when we couldn't fight it anymore. He was trying to not let a Fleetwood Mac thing happen, but it happened. I reeled him in somehow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we can take it from there in just a minute, but just to go a little bit deeper into where you guys come from as individuals, and I can start with you, Jenna, and then I'd like to hear about Europe from you, and then from LA and all that stuff. But Jenna, what were your biggest influences growing up? As you have such an awesome, soulful voice, who were you listening to in your adolescence and then into your high school and college years? And tell me your music history.
Oh boy, it's all.
I know it's probably a big list.
But I mean, I started singing in church. That was, it's probably where a little bit of the soul comes from.
You can tell, yeah, that comes through for sure.
Yeah. So that's where it began, and I loved listening to gospel and R&B music and soul music. And then I got into, I think like 6th, 7th grade, I started getting into kind of just rock and roll, alternative rock and roll. I think embarrassingly enough, I was listening to like bands like Creed. Like I was really into that in 6th and 7th grade. POD. Oh yeah. And then I think I went through like a pretty good punk stage in high school, punk and ska and emo. I kind of, punk, ska, and emo. Those are my main ones.
And we were kind of in that phase at the same time, because her boyfriend at the time was my bass player. So
for your punk band,
for my ska band, yep. So we were into ska band and skanking and doing all that stuff.
Oh, I love that stuff. And then Daniel, how about you? Where did your music kind of start from, and how long have you been playing guitar, or where did you start playing?
I started in 5th grade. My parents listened to classic rock and Styx. Styx was my favorite band growing up. I don't know why. I guess because they liked it. But so Styx was my jams, and then like I didn't like pop music at all. I remember Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba being the first pop song that I was like, this is interesting. But I was into rock most of my life, and then got into punk and ska, Blink-182 and ska around this time, but then took a 180 and got into Fish and jazz at the freshman year of high school. So I went on this Fish odyssey for like a year and a half, and this jazz odyssey, and I learned jazz, and I started doing like the all-state jazz bands, and I don't know, just started listening to Fish for some reason, and then totally went off of it. No more Fish, like after junior year of high school, and got into like hip hop and
it's all over the place.
All over the place.
Were you
Go ahead.
smoking weed at that age, or were you just listening to Fish on a sober level?
Just seems like I wasn't really. I mean, not
Really?
definitely not freshman year. Maybe like junior, senior year, I would smoke once in a while,
Yeah.
but no, I don't know. Really can't explain it.
I know
But I
usually
learned,
people that are, get into fish, that's it for they're a fish head
yeah.
for life.
But I learned a lot from it. Like that's how I learned how to solo guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Do you guys ever revisit any of the? I'm trying to think. I've listened to a bunch of stuff recently, and obviously I've played with you guys and seen you live before. Do you guys ever revisit the ska stuff? Because you have the horn section and everything, and you have a great
I've been
rhythm section.
one day.
One day we
One
will.
day.
I've been pushing for it.
Someday it'll happen. I don't know when, but
It'd be pretty silly, but
just all the
fun.
hits. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, just like the classic.
Yeah.
That would be a fun night.
It would be a fun night.
And you guys, I think one of you guys commented, or both you, and I went to see, posted something about going to see Toots and the Maytals a couple years ago. And so obviously that's like real early ska. And
yeah, we listened to a lot of reggae and
we love Toots. We got to see him a few years back at One Big Holiday in the Dominican Republic, my Morning Jacket Festival, and they were one of my favorite acts that we saw the whole time.
He holds his microphone down by his belly button.
I know, man. He's definitely like mine.
It's just so
I love
loud.
him.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I love Toots. So just to one more thing you had mentioned, Jenna, you were in Europe. You said, what were you doing over there?
Well, I did the classic. I broke up. My boyfriend and I broke up. We were together for like 4 years, and so my heart was broken. So I decided to stop going to college, and I went to Europe just to backpack by myself.
Wow.
For a few months, and that was it. Just kind of a soul searching, trip. I was 18, I think, at the time, and stayed in France and Ireland most of the time, and I don't know, and then just came back and decided to head to Fort Collins, Colorado after that for some reason.
And Daniel, you were in Los Angeles. Were you at school there?
Yeah, I went to university out there and got a business degree. But I was just kind of out there I at the time I was like playing a lot of jazz. So I was like, well, I can go be a jazz musician. I don't know, like get in LA music scene. And I got there and I realized I was not good enough to be like a jazz guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started playing open mics instead. Just put down the electric guitar and just started playing acoustic and singing songs. And so I did that every week for my whole first 2 years I was in LA. I played every open mic for 2 years. And then I kind of got a little lax with it after that. I didn't really care as much, but LA, it was crazy, dude.
How did you like Los Angeles? Because full disclosure, the family and I are strongly considering a move there in the near future. Yeah.
I mean, it's I didn't like it at first, but I grew to really love it. I was right by the beach, so.
Were you there for like 4 years?
I was there for 4 years.
Yeah.
It was, it was hard to put a band together.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That was like a band guy, I don't know. I've always been just like the band, Yeah. And I feel like Austin's really great for that. It's like there's that bands here, like band of brothers. People are just like in it to win it. And
yeah, there's such a rich pool of talent in Austin. It's got to be one. I've thought about it, and we all know people in other cities, but I mean, for players, it's got to be top 3 in the world. It's like
it's insane.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, Nashville is insane.
Yeah, we lived there too.
We lived there, nice. And I mean, the players were insane there, but it was like those guys were all the guys that were like, and there's not that many people in Nashville, so it was like only those guys that you don't have this like mid-level talent or like even lower. It's like just like the premier guys.
Yeah,
which was amazing. But here it's like just everyone. There's so many different genres, and like it's insane.
So you guys, I want to kind of get to the evolution of your sound, and we've already kind of cracked into that, but more back to where the locations you guys have lived. You guys were in Denver, you said, for 6 years, and then did you go to Nashville from there?
Denver for about 5 years, and then Nashville. I think we made it a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Nashville was kind of a rough time. I don't know. We didn't really.
It was very humbling.
It was. It was. We learned a lot. It just wasn't our spot.
Yeah, and when we lived in Denver, we were touring a lot, and we were going to Arizona, which is like our home base, fan base, so we just go back and forth. And sometimes we'd go to LA because I still had people out there, and so we did this little triangle, and that was great because we had people, we had friends, we had family, we had fans. So we moved to Nashville, and we're like, all right, we're gonna keep hitting it. And we were going to like Dayton, Ohio, and like
little towns in Pennsylvania.
Who knows? Just like all these little random
Illinois.
towns in the Midwest and the East Coast, and
we didn't know anybody.
we didn't. Yeah. So it was just rough touring, and then we'd get to like New York or Chicago, and we'd have some good shows like in the big cities because we'd know somebody. But like getting there was always just miserable. So that was humbling in itself, and then just being in Nashville is just kind of like LA. Just everybody's just. It's very industry, and I don't know.
Yeah. And then so after that, we were going to move to California. We were going to move to like San Luis Obispo, just some random. It's so great. And and that's why we were going to move there, because we were like, oh, we love it. It's so beautiful. But thinking about the music scene out there, I think we just kind of had to shift something around, because there's not really a great music scene. So we were heading out west, and we stopped in Austin just to visit a friend. And we changed our plans. we went to a show at the Continental Gallery. We saw Troop Farrell and Sniz. Have you ever been able to see them?
Yeah, long time ago, but yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. And that night we decided to not go to California.
Wow, fate. Yeah, Nashville's never really resonated with me, and we've been through on tour there probably half a dozen times or so, but it's just, and I had been through there before I was even really full blown into music, and I don't know, it just didn't feel right for me. Never really thought about going there. It didn't, because it wasn't my vibe for whatever reason. And I know you guys are big fans of New Orleans. Did you guys ever think about moving there at any time?
Think about it all the time.
Yeah, we'd love to go there, but it's not really our music. For what we do, I mean, Austin's pretty perfect.
Yeah,
it is perfect for you guys, for sure.
Maybe one day down the road we can own like a condo or something in New Orleans. Go all the time.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So in terms of your guys' sound, obviously the last record and kind of the last two records, and most of what I've heard of you guys is you just have that real rich, soulful sound. It's definitely got some of the church in there. It's just definitely got the rhythm and blues, rock and roll, Americana. And, most people I talk to, and myself included, a sound kind of just evolves on its own. It kind of has a life of its own. You don't really think about where it's coming from. But as you guys were putting your sound together here in Austin, and I imagine you guys started kind of from the ground up in terms of it was just you two and you built around that, or did you have other people that you already knew here?
No, we didn't know any musicians here. We knew friends, but
we had our sound.
Yeah.
We started in Denver. Like, we started as a folk act, like in 2005. We did Simon and Garfunkel, right? So we did that.
And Beatles.
And just sing a duo. So we did that for 4 years. Then we moved to Denver. We started the rock band, but it was like folk rock. It was like, that was Rilo Kiley, like folky,
kind of indie
folk. That was what we were going for. Because at the time it was like electronic music was like it. That was what was happening. So it was like, all right, well, let's go the other direction. Let's not do that. Let's go rootsy and folky, and so that's what we did. And
the horns came to be in Nashville, interestingly enough, actually. Yeah. So that sound evolved there.
Did you have a big band in Nashville then?
For big shows, yeah. I mean, we would I don't think we toured with the horns.
The
normally.
horns kind of joined at the very end. That was like the final phase because we recorded 2 albums in Nashville, and the first one was like the folky Americana, and then we recorded a little EP that was like basically what we do now.
Yeah.
And we're playing 2 of those songs on Sunday. We haven't played them in 5 years or something, but yeah, we're gonna kind of bring those 2 back. And
I think Austin has helped us hone in our sound, kind of that like blue-eyed soul, that's so popular here.
Well, the players here are just
helps.
Yeah. Like we got Trevor kneeling on piano, who's just a monster, and then we've got on the record Anthony Farrell, who is in the Greyhounds, and he plays organ. So we've got the piano and organ like playing back and forth, like kind of in time, live. And there's just like this cool.
Yeah, we got JJ Johnson on drums, who's I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah, of course. Is he Is he playing with you now full time or just on the new record?
No. He's just on the new record. He played a few shows with us, which was amazing. But yeah, it's really great having him on the record.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we took him.
He's a beast.
He played a couple shows with us, like leading up to it. It was he played at Antone's with us, and he came down to Houston with us and played a show, and we played at Cosmic together with him.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. It's just insane, his groove in his pocket.
Next level.
And when you guys are writing, does it start with a acoustic guitar, electric guitar? Does it start with you two, Daniel? Does it start with like a riff on the guitar? Because I know a lot of that is kind of central to the seems to the writing, but is it always different? How does that work?
I feel like it's usually like just something in my head, and I just like
a melody.
Yeah, just like a melody that I just I make my little notes.
Sure.
And then just work it from there.
And do you guys compose the horn parts by yourselves, or do you guys kind of entrust the horn section to kind of build that? You do all that, Daniel?
I do all that. Most
cool.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm stuck, I'll get help, but I do it.
And do you do that mostly through like music theory and charts and all that stuff?
I have software, so I make charts on software, and then I refine. I mean, I'm insane. I'm a little too meticulous with it, but it usually pays off.
The horn players appreciate the meticulous charts.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they like to have things. Not a lot of room for improv in terms of a tight horn line, right?
No.
Although we're kind of moving that direction. Like we've been playing these jazz shows, where the horns are just
coming off the books.
Just coming off the books a little bit, and we're kind of trying to incorporate. So this week we're going to do more traditional waters where they're on the book, but we're going to kind of get off the book while we're on the book. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds jazzy.
Have you guys been to any other than the shows that you're playing? Have you gone to any other shows that people are playing around town?
So
we did one. We went to Warrow's Taco Bar outside. It was the Michael Hale Trio. Have you seen Michael Hale Trio?
No, but I've heard of them. I've heard of them, yeah.
Great. Yeah. That was it.
Old school Austin blues.
Brought the little man with us. But that was it. Yeah. Not much else going on.
So while we're on the subject of the little man, what kinds of early music are you guys getting in his brain and his spirit? I know when my daughter was young, I think the first stuff was a lot of like Lead Belly kind of, because it's got that kind of folk, and a lot of Lead Belly songs have that kind of almost a lullaby or simplicity to them that a very young kid can do. And by not too shortly thereafter, it was B.B. King and Nina Simone and all kinds of stuff. So is there anything that the little one really enjoys?
Oh, reggae. He loves,
nice.
Right off the bat, it was like Bob Marley. We listened to Three Little Birds, that song, went like the first 5 months of his life. Because he over and over and over again.
Every time he'd hear it, he'd like, just be okay. So
yeah, started with reggae, and then a lot of Beatles, of course. We don't, yeah, we're not messing around here. There's no like baby shark and stuff happening
No,
here.
no, I
We
don't
don't,
want that.
that's not allowed in our house. So we put on records and we listen to a lot of jazz
Ooh,
and
Bobby Charles. Are you
oh
familiar with
yeah.
him?
Bobby Charles. I don't. The name sounds
Charles,
familiar, but I don't know if I know who that is.
check it out, dude. It's the self-titled. I think it's the first record, self-titled record. Is like that
He's
was
a
like
Louisiana guy and he
Okay.
played with like the members of the band and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's like it's the record is basically like the band with him as the singer. So
Oh wow, that's got to be good.
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
that
When's
was
that from? Is that from like the 80s or 70s or?
71, something like that. 70,
Oh
71.
wow. Okay, so way back. So before the band was, or when the band was the
Kind of,
band.
but they were,
yeah,
yeah, like
Okay.
Rick Danko produced it. So, he was probably on top of his
yeah,
whatever, on top of the world,
on heroin.
Yeah, I'm sure he was smacked out,
They
but
were all smacked out.
there's a couple, you can hear little flibbity flubbities in there, but it just because he plays bass on it, but it works.
Great album.
Yeah, mine was really into reggae and still is. Because I play reggae all the time around the house and stuff. But I remember when I brought her I had to go to the bank and she was probably like one. She was really young. And I was filling out one of the, bank statements and sat her right on the table. And she just starts going like this in the middle of the dead quiet bank. She starts going, Bob Marley, Bob Marley, Bob Marley. It was so funny.
Good skin silence.
So kind of getting back to Austin, and I know you guys have been able to really get a toehold in the city, and I've got to see you guys grow. I've got to play with you guys, and the state of the city. Well, it's the state of the world. But how were you guys feeling about Austin before all this hit? Because as I mentioned, we were considering a move to Los Angeles, and Austin's been very good to me. I've been been here for 10 years, and I've gotten everything I wanted to get out of it, which was to basically, more or less get 10,000 hours of just as much stage time as I can, and years of stage time, and years of practice, and just all that good stuff that Austin brings. And as I was seeing it, it's like, well, I love it, and I just don't know how much. It seemed to me that the economy of the music in Austin was already shrinking a bit, and that the surplus of musicians was as robust as ever. And I was kind of noticing that a bit. And now, obviously, the sky has fallen across the industry. So I guess with that kind of ramble, how are you guys looking ahead to Austin? Now that all this has happened, are you guys kind of you got your record, you're gonna kind of finish that out and then just see where the world's at, right? And how are you guys feeling about Austin as a city? Are you guys as high on it as you ever have been? Any thoughts on it?
Oh, no, I mean, definitely not as high as we've ever been. I mean, I've been kind of going like back and forth, I mean, who knows when it's going to come back like it did, if it will come back like it did. And I've just kind of been like, should we even be here? It's like, that's why we're here, is for live music.
Right.
I think if it's going to come back anywhere, I feel like it's got to be here. I mean, there's just too many musicians.
And there's too much at stake in the economy to not. But I think it could be a couple of years. I
mean, before all this happened, we were in a good position because we were getting all sorts of calls for like corporate, like all these corporate events that were pretty high dollar, and we were like starting to get a lot of those, and that was starting, and we're really versatile, so we can do we can do weddings, or we can do jazz brunch, or we can do Fleetwood Mac night, or all these different weird shows. So I mean, we were in like a really good position, and we just won the Black Fret and everything, and but now I think I'm not really worried. It's like we're already playing. We're playing more right now than we were. We're playing every week.
Yeah, we actually just got hit up for another residency too. So we have gigs. They're just not,
It's not the same, but I mean, we've never been live by the gig, die by the gig. So we're not like working, gigging musicians. You know what I mean? So I work full time so I can play music because I love playing music. and I also make money doing that too. So it's just like side hustle meets my passion, and whatever. I don't care. I mean, if we go Sedona, it's going to be way worse. You know,
There's
it's
no
like,
music there.
at least we can collaborate with all the beautiful musicians here and all the, resources that there are here,
Yeah.
even if it's different than it was. But I don't know.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a ton of versatility. That's a huge plus with the soulful big band, just rock it out, and then the jazz, like you said, and you guys have a lot of options, and that's part of what I've been trying to do the last couple of years too. Is I have a 3-piece kind of rock and roll full on thing, but a few years ago I was like, man, I got to get the solo acoustic thing going, and you build that up, and that becomes its own beast. And then last summer I went on my first. I went on a 12-city tour. It was just a 2-piece. And that was actually kind of just by circumstance. But that was a whole nother thing. And that was really a great learning experience and great fun. And you just have to have as many options as possible.
Just you and a drummer? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I split the feed. So I had kind of a bass, God, it was last summer and I haven't used it so much, but the, AB, and then you use a Octavia thing and a bass amp. It was fun, man. It was a lot of work. I mean, in a 3-piece, you got to do a lot of work as the singer and guitar player, but then as a 2-piece, Jesus, that's a bit much, but it's fun. You really got to be on your shit. So, I think we've covered just about everything I wanted to talk to you guys about. I guess one of my closing questions would be, and we've kind of hit on some of this before, but I'm sure you guys have had a little bit more time to think and just process. And a lot of people are using the word reset. I've heard a lot of musicians use that word reset. But you guys have any thoughts on moving forward as musicians and artists in general, and specifically people who are in need of a crowd? And I think you guys are super deserving and lucky and well fit for the gigs that you have in this pretty perilous, this rough time. So that's fantastic that you have that going on right now. But any thoughts on the industry and the community of musicians and ways to kind of get through this as best we can?
Like as a whole, like everybody?
Yeah, you guys have a unique situation as a couple, but as an individual in the situation, as a couple in the situation, and then as a community. And that's kind of a loaded question, but maybe you guys have had thoughts on any of that stuff.
I mean, it's hard for me to like speculate for everybody, or like what the shape of the industry is going to be. I mean, it's just as far as like, to me, it seems like the big business, the major concerts, all the major label stuff is going to be whatever it is. And it's all going to be seemingly uniform because they all seem to do the same thing. Cause the booking circuits are all so that's going to come back whenever that comes back. That's probably going to be maybe next year. It's not going to be too long. I mean, music's going to come back, right?
Right. People have the itch for it. I mean, big time when it comes back.
So let's say in the meantime, I mean, I feel like it's going to be private events, you either find some corporate schmoes or you get some rich folks to pay you to play in the backyard. And I mean,
it's happening.
I think the biggest thing is just, you got to be ready to just play whatever if that's what you want to do, then you can make that happen. It's not illegal.
And if it's not in your comfort zone, it's not in a lot of people's comfort zone right now to get out and play, even for 20 people outside, then find other ways to be creative and hone your craft. And
that's the thing. You just got to keep going.
Keep working.
Yeah, whatever.
Or I don't know. I mean, this is also a great, like you said, it's a time to reset. And I mean, maybe it's a good time a good excuse to just put everything down and just be, and I don't know, take care of your health and your happiness and your mental health, and be with your loved ones. And I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I think being present, going with what you have, and really just honing your craft, whether that's in your own personal space or out with other people, sticking to that.
How have you guys been able to do writing? How's the writing process been since you guys had the kiddo? Is it just same as it ever was? Just find time during nap time and get a baby. Do you guys have any? And I guess a part B to that. Do you guys have any family network in town? Because I know that's one thing we have always lacked, is we just have no family network in town.
Zero. Yeah, nothing. Grandparents visit often though. I'd say every other month or more. We have a grandparent here visiting. So that's been nice. I personally have not written anything since Johnny was born.
Right when he was born, we were like, I was in this zone where like the record was almost written, and so right when he was born, I went on this one more little spree, and I was writing, and then, but I always do this. Like I can't write until this record is like done, and then it's like, all right, keep going. But I haven't written anything in a while.
Yeah, I'm definitely a spree writer as well. Like I'm sure it's a similar operation. Like pockets of opportunity to write will pop up, and then I'll just try to get as many of those initial ideas as you possibly can out. And then once you have those initial ideas, then you can take those to the band, and that becomes its secondary process. And that's 4 or 5 months. And then once that's starting to wrap up, then you get it recording. Okay, now we got to finish these songs, finish them, record them, and then you start the process all over. And kind of, when you got family, you got day jobs and all that, you got to take the opportunities to write when they come, because you don't know when they'll come again or what have you. But well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time and your perspective and everything. And we have to bring the family out to the Far Out Lounge and check you guys out sometime.
Check it out.
You should.
When what time do you guys play there? What time of day?
So this upcoming Sunday, the 16th, I think we're changing it to 11:30 to 1:30 because it's going to be 105 on Sunday.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a hot day.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. We normally do it 1 to 3. But we are finding that that's quite hot then. Yeah. Their brunch is from 11 to 3, so we might just do the earlier spot. But
is it an indefinite residency, or is it?
It is. Awesome. Yeah. And I think we won't be there for every single Sunday, so I think they're kind of leaving it open as jazz brunch and filling it with whoever wants to fill it. So, it's a great hang, and they're really doing it right. So if you guys feel like making it out one of these days, we'd love to see you in person.
I don't know if we'll be out there when it's 105.
No, I don't want to be out there.
I'm from up north, so I'm still kind of a wuss when it comes to the 100 degrees. I think everybody kind of is, but
I get it.
Well, thank you guys so much. I had a great time talking to you, and
thank you.
I'll hopefully see you guys again soon.
All right, brother.
All right.
Stay in touch.
Thank you.